Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to Family Office Insights. Today we have a very special program. I have with me Sam and Talia, and they are from ArkHAUS, which is really unique. I'm going to let everybody kind of come on in. The presentation is going to be about 15 minutes, and we're going to reserve 15 minutes for questions. So if you would like to chat, type your questions into the chat box, I would absolutely bring them up to them as soon as they're done with the presentation. So with that, Sam, Natalie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you very much. We're very happy to be part of this Family Office Insights webinar and bring to you guys what we believe is kind of a game-changing concept in the hospitality space. First, my name is Sam Peyrovi. I am the co-founder and CEO of Custom House and ArkHAUS. First, I'll tell you a little bit about Custom House. It's a multifaceted hospitality business. We are based in New York City and also have a location in Miami. We offer co-working, a private event space, and a private membership club. New York was first, Miami was second. And when we were in Miami, we basically worked on this evolution of what we thought a membership club can and should be. You know, I think it's really important to know what we stand for when we built a concept like this. You know, we're building a membership club that really breaks the mold. It's a club for the world's disruptors, innovators, and those who care about moving the world forward. So in a nutshell, you know, we're building a community of good work by day and good people by night. Very core to that is my co-founder and CXO, Natalie. But before I have her introduce herself, I'm going to tell you that after this webinar, we are going to have an in-person event here in New York City at Custom House, which is a space we're sitting in Meatpacking. That is on October 12th. So if you can put a pin on that date, we will have a live in-person event. And for anybody in Miami, we are going to be down there next week, October 5th, 6th, and 7th, for a variety of events around ArkHAUS. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Natalie.
Myself. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie Peva, and I am the co-founder and CXO of ArkHAUS. If anybody's wondering, the X stands for experience, and I hope to be bringing a lot of that with the ArkHAUS concept. So let me tell you a little bit about how ArkHAUS came to be. There's a third piece of it. So Sam told you that we are in New York in a pretty iconic building in the little Flatiron building in the Meatpacking District, which you all probably know, knowing New York so well. Second location at the Faena Bazaar. So that rooftop penthouse, exceptional views of the Bayside and the beach side. And the third will now be the extension, which is in collaboration with ArkUp. So the manufacturer of the world's premier floating villa that is has been in production and is now being conceived as a membership club through our eyes. So what are we building? We're building ArkHAUS. ArkHAUS is the lifestyle club on water. It is a place to meet, to relax, to entertain, and really take you from day to night. And it'll take you really from that Custom House experience all the way through. So I'll take you through what a member might look at during the day, right? A member day starts at 8 a.m. The day breaks. You have a meditation session, perhaps a yoga or a coffee overlooking that pool at the center of the space. Something that a weekday might bring is, you know, a coffee meeting, bringing in a client, perhaps a, you know, powerhouse lunch kind of thing. They're all set up to be a little bit modular so that you might have more of a lounge space, more of a meeting space, private areas, as well as communal areas to break away from the office. And of course, you can't have a membership club without having a little bit of fun. So sort of conceiving what it will look like during the weekends, spending a day, you know, by the pool, but really taking the experience to another level where, as opposed to sort of a cabana side beach day, you are actually at the center of the water, which is what makes Miami so iconic. You might hang out on the rooftop, you might go into the jacuzzis, you know, sit by the sun and enjoy the day. And then when the night caps, might be a cocktail hour, rooftops overlooking the water, really being able to have the limitless views that that are expansive in, you know, all across Miami waterways. And I'll let Sam tell you a little bit more about the configuration and the details of the vessels themselves, but essentially that pool in the center is a naturally formed and protected pool that is formed by the 4 ArkHAUS vessels connected and then creating that water at the center. So that's going to be protected from wildlife. There may even be a platform that enables you to walk right across the water. So something pretty unique and special. With a club like this, we've got to match the level of programming to the way the space looks and all the innovation. So we're already starting to plan out all of the world-class instructors, entertainers, and everybody else who'll be coming through the vessels to create a beautiful space. The membership program itself can fit 720 memberships in total, but we'll be selling 360 intentionally so that we create space for members to bring in clients, loved ones, friends, and the idea there is because the access is limited only to members and their friends, the access needs to be needs to enable some space for guests and that kind of thing. So you'll have 30 hours of access on the per member, and then those members can be shared. Those hours can be shared with members, with other guests, and then anybody else who'd like to purchase through that member. And one thing I should not forget to tell you is charters are, of course, something that can happen on those vessels, but again, limited to members. So those 4 boats can clip away, go for a charter, and then come back. So that will be an exceptional experience that that would be really only be limited to members themselves.
I'm going to take over here and tell you a little bit more about the business side of it. So thanks, Natalie, about that. And I'll come back and tell you why Natalie's amazing, because when we get to the team slide. Well, there's quite a few innovations happening here, and we can't take credit for the first one. The first one is ArkUp, which is the fabricator of these vessels. They created the world's foremost houseboat, which is a 75-footer down in Miami, and they only made one. And we wanted to put our membership club on that one, but it wouldn't have worked. So they told us later that they were making these 40-footers, and we basically said, well, what does it look like if we put 4 of these together? And that's when we ideated the concept that you see here in this image. These are fully solar electric. They use no gas. They can basically exist on their own. And as Natalie mentioned, they can be disconnected. One can run out for a charter and come back. And that's the part we can't take credit for. What we can take credit for is working with ArkUp to ideate, design the decks, figure out how they fit together, build the programming, build the membership, and kind of really create an exclusive membership club around this. But the only innovation there is not the boats or what we've done and taken that to the next level. It's actually our membership base. So we believe that we are a lifestyle club for the world's innovators. We actually have an application process in place that will allow us to curate that membership base to match the innovation level of the club itself. So that membership base, we're targeting a 50-50 gender distribution, men, women. On the age, 2/3 of our members will fall between 30 and 50 years old. The other third will be split out on the wings, 20 to 30, and then 50 plus. And then in terms of profession, we primarily see this being startups, investors, entertainment and media, real estate, fashion, and that's basically the club. And, Natalie mentioned that we can only have 720 members, and that's really a limitation of use hours that we can have because it's a marine constraint. And we are only making 360 of those available during pre-sales. The rest will be used by members bringing their guest passes, charters, rentals, and members from other locations who will also have access to the Miami ArkHAUS location. But when you have a membership club that is so small, and most membership clubs are actually around 3,000 people per location, and we're talking between 360 to 720 for something as eye-catching as this, it allows you to create something that's very limited, very exclusive, and very powerful. So when is this all happening? We only learned of the 40-foot vessels back in April of this year. And by June and July, we had already ideated and known exactly how this is going to work. We announced it in June, we placed our initial deposits down in July, and we started to work on the membership program. We now are entering a phase in which these vessels will go into production in late October, early November. We'll receive them in next spring, and then we will launch the club in fall. I'm sorry, we'll receive them in summer, and then we'll launch the club in fall. In terms of membership, we have started working on some membership application just through friends and family and word of mouth. And our heavy marketing basically is about to begin. We'll start awarding and confirming memberships January of 22. So between now and then, we're collecting applications. We start assigning membership numbers in January until the club opens. I mentioned location. So the location of the club is actually not set yet, but within Biscayne Bay and Miami, there are 5 locations that we are in discussion with. They are the Standard Hotel, the Mondrian Hotel, Joya Beach Club, Morris Fair Park, and One Paraiso, the residential building over in Edgewood. So who else is doing membership clubs in Miami? Well, a lot of people, to tell you the truth. Faena has Faena Rose, Soho, of course, has Soho Beach House, The Addition, the Bath Club, Standard Spa, Fisher Island Club, One Beach Club. So why are we entering this space if there are so many membership clubs? Well, the reality is the membership clubs that are already there, that vast landscape demonstrates the market demand because more membership clubs are popping up every single day. But all of these clubs are traditional land-based clubs, and none of them have innovated and evolved to move to something very different like what we have. So the question is, why wouldn't they be able to do it? Well, the first reason behind that is the only boat, houseboat, or any kind of vessel that is of the caliber that can sustain a membership club for a lot of people is actually ArkHAUS, the manufacturers of the boats, and they happen to be based in Miami. When we started working together, we wanted to make sure we were going to be the only membership club they worked with. So we created a right of first refusal agreement, which basically says that should anyone else come to them with a membership club request to use their boats for a membership club, they give us a right of first refusal to beat them to that city. That in effect means ArkHAUS and Custom House have partnered up to make sure that we are the only membership club creating a villa style club like this in the world. So when we say in the world, where's next? New York City, Hudson River is definitely number 2. LA and San Francisco will be 3 and 4. We think that'll probably be it for the US for now. And internationally, we're looking at Paris, Istanbul, and Dubai, but that's definitely a little bit later. That's probably about year 3 or 4. But once we have the first few clubs done, they're very easy to pop up. The vessels are easy to place deposits for and receive, and it's just a function of pre-selling the membership. So in terms of economics, I'll run you through some high-level numbers. If we are at 50% in membership, which means 360 memberships sold, we're at 1.65 million net margin in year 1. And if we have fully sold the membership, we are actually at 6.1 million. You'll see the expenses don't change. That's because as a marine vessel, we actually have to fully staff and have everything fully taken care of. The revenue numbers do drastically go up. And because the pre-sales spike in price when you get into the back end of the pre-sale, you'll see it's more than double the revenue. And the same thing with the F&B as well. So why are we here? Well, one, we're very excited to tell you guys about this, as we are excited about the concept, but we are raising $1.5 million in convertible notes, looking to do it at a 15 million valuation cap with a 15% discount. And the use of funds there is very simple. 500,000 of it is for membership marketing. We aim to have most of the membership sold by the end of this year, and some of it into next year. The vessel deposits are 750,000 for the floor. That's a second stage deposit that we need to place. And then 250,000 for pre-launch operations. We've funded everything until now, and we will be able to continue funding some of it. but we are going to get into some heavier legal costs and some other things we have to do. So let me go back to that team. So I graduated from UCLA and I went straight to Bear Stearns. I spent 14 years in mortgage analytics and data. I think myself as kind of like a weird numbers grunt. Somehow I ended up in the hospitality space as we kind of continue to evolve. And after Bear Stearns, I was at Royal Bank of Scotland for most of my career. Natalie, Franklin and Marshall grad, pretty much right out of college, went to LVMH. She brought out multiple brands into the US market before she was poached by Moria Pacific to go. They are a big Korean skincare conglomerate, and she helped bring them to the US. Drew Kelly, also UCLA, not at the same time. Well, actually same time, but we didn't know each other. He was also at Bear Stearns. We did know each other when we were there. Drew was on the famous entertainment and hospitality team under Jason Adder at Bear Stearns. Has since gone on to structure over 50 billion of transactions in entertainment and gaming and discretionary spending deals. Most recently, Drew is the CFO of Mohegan Sun Gaming, which is actually the 4th largest gaming corporation in the world. He's helped them fund other companies, fund other gaming organizations, expand out into Macau, Korea, Tokyo, and he's on with us as he's a big powerhouse in the entertainment space. Alison Sellover, she is our strategy and operations lead, a Harvard grad and a McKinsey consultant. She just loves to build things. She's currently building sets for Broadway, which is just part of why Alison's so amazing. She has her hands a little bit in everything. But you know, the team is spectacular. We have multiple more people on our team, but this is our leadership. And lastly, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Custom House. So I mentioned that we opened Custom House in early 2020, just before COVID, the New York location on that little Flatiron building on the left. Last December, we went down and we opened up a 6-month pop-up down in Miami at the Faena Bazaar rooftop. And that is what Custom House is today. And of course, the next evolution of this is ArkHAUS. So before I close that out, I'm going to tell you a little fun fact about our team. We are an exceptionally scrappy team that moves very quickly. We make a lot of things work that people look at and say, there's no way that could ever work. And I'm going to give you a little proof in the pudding. When COVID hit, we actually took this space that you see behind me. I'll show it to you right there. We converted it into the largest maker of face shields for New York City hospitals. Having never made a face shield before, we were given a contract to make 250,000 face shields, which the city then doubled to 500,000. Then they added another 1.1 million. We actually made 40% of all the face shields that went to all the New York City hospitals. Built a global supply chain in 2 weeks, hired 90 people, and made it all happen right in this space. So we're exceptionally proud of that project. And you know, we say that that's the coolest and funnest thing we've done in our lives. We hopefully hope that ArkHAUS continues to push that forward. So just want to thank you guys all. The 2 dates, I will remind you guys again. Next week, if anybody is in Miami and would like to meet, October 5th, 6th, 7th, we'll be there at the Faena. And then October 12th, 1 week later, we have an investor event right here in New York City in Meatpacking. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. That was fascinating. We do have a question. Have you thought about using NFTs to track, sell, transfer, and/or auction memberships?
I love that question. Yes, in fact, we already have done it. We mentioned we're selling 360 memberships. 350 of those are traditional, regular annual memberships, pay your annual. And by the way, the annual membership is $10,000 for the full price. Pre-sales start at $5,000, going up to $7,500. We are doing 10 NFT memberships, and those are not annual. Those are perpetual, meaning they exist forever. So what does that mean for an NFT holder who wins that? We're doing one a month. And when a customer or a bidder wins that NFT, they can use the club for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And when they're done, they can sell it to somebody else. And that means they've used the club, sold the NFT for a profit, gotten their entire money back and then some, and had a great time. We're really doing those NFTs more of just like a fun marketing thing. That's why we're not doing the entire membership base in it, but that's the extent of it right now. Thanks for that question.
Sam, can you go over one more time the cost of membership?
Sure. A full price is $10,000 annual. Pre-sales start at $5,000 and go up to $7,500. And one thing that's interesting to note, we expect about a 15 to 20% annual attrition in membership. Everything has its ups and downs. So where you're going to have that attrition, we will actually pull from our membership wait list, but new members come in at the full 10K rate. So our gross revenue will actually go up over time as those pre-sale members fall off.
And also a question from the audience, what are the specs of the battery storage, solar, power of motor, top speed, top range on one charge, etc.?
Another great question. So the first thing to note is ArkHAUS will primarily be docked. 90% of the time, those 4 boats will be in that square configuration docked in front of a waterfront hospitality partner. The boats, each solar array on top of each boat is a 10 kilowatt array. It stores enough power. I don't know the exact metrics of how many kilowatts it stores, but it stores enough power for the boat to go 6 nautical miles. That's more than a charter that we would probably ever do. Somebody takes out one of the boats for a charter, they're probably just going 3-4 nautical miles. And then of course you have the solar array to charge you as you're going. So it's plenty. They're not intended for long distance use. The longest distance we will ever have is if we need to dry dock it and move it probably about 5 nautical miles during a hurricane.
Douglas is asking, how can I get an NFT membership?
Great. You got to email us and we're going to send you the link to the purchase. So one fun fact on that, the first NFT, the number 1, actually sold for about $21,000. That was 80. One feature of that is every single subsequent NFT, the starting price will be the selling price of the previous. So what does that mean? It means the price will always escalate on those 10. So you come in number 2, number 3, number 4, the subsequent bidders are going to help to raise the price of your NFT's value. What it also means, if there isn't a bid for number 7, 8, or 9, or 10, you have less supply. We won't sell 8, 9, or 10. We'll only have 7. And that'll serve to create less supply.
Another question from the audience, could the regular membership be sold in the future?
The annual memberships cannot be sold. They are annual. So once you use them, you have to renew your membership every year. So when your membership expires at the end of the year, that's where it is.
And again, will there be any special rights for the NFT memberships? Why should we buy an NFT for more than a regular membership?
Well, the NFT membership, you're getting a perpetual membership, right? So if you want to use the club for 30 years, you're going to get to use it for 30 years. You have no further dues, right? So once you pay that upfront fee, that's the end of it. To put that in context for you, the first NFT sold for $21,000. That's approximately 4 years at the pre-sale price. So I think what the average person is going to do is say, this is probably worth 3 years to me, or 5 years to me, or 6 years to me. They really should be bidding it up higher because ultimately they're going to be able to sell that NFT and get their money back. So it's almost a difference of thinking about it in terms of principal and interest.
The comment was very great idea.
Thanks.
Thank you, Douglas. And we have a follow-up. Membership can be used on any, or can you buy an entity buy membership or NFTs?
I'm sorry, I didn't. Can you repeat that for me, please?
Sure. The first question is, can the membership be used on any ArkHAUS club? And the second question is, can an entity buy a membership or NFT?
Great. Let me answer the first one for you. Right now, we have 2 custom house locations, and we are looking to create the first ArkHAUS location. When you become an ArkHAUS member, you get 30 hours of use per month at your home location. As we open up other locations, San Fran, LA, Paris, you will have limited hours in those other locations. What that serves to do is prevent a scenario where all the New York members rush down to Miami during Art Basel, or all the Miami members rush up to New York, during the fall or the spring when it's too hot down there. So we're basically making sure that the hours and the usage are very controlled. For some of you who might be down in Miami, if you've heard about how Soho House, Soho Beach House members down there have been very frustrated because the club this year was overrun with New York City members rushing down there. That's the exact scenario we're working to prevent. So we're very careful in how we craft that membership base and usage. And there was a second question to that. Can an entity buy membership or NFTs? Yes, you can buy an annual membership the same way any individual can. We have been thinking about creating a corporate membership. While we do very much value and want a combination and a distribution of individuals across all walks of life, and companies to come there and do business and meet each other and transact, we do also want to be careful about who it is. So it will be a limited amount of corporate memberships. To give you an idea of what we think we're going to do there, and we haven't done it yet, is a corporate would basically pay for 2 memberships, but get access for 4 people. So you would get the same amount of usage as 2 people, but effectively you can split it to 4 people, which is like a leadership team. That's the idea.
So we have another question. It says, you mentioned 30-hour limitations on the use of the SPACs show. Does that work for home clubs? Is the water location hours limited versus the land hours?
So Custom House, the co-working and on-land co-working and private membership club, is a different membership. ArkHAUS is primarily on water. So if you are getting an ArkHAUS membership, that gets you the 30 hours of use to your home ArkHAUS location. If you want to go co-work in New York or Miami, you will get some access there also. And again, we think that's 6 hours. Reciprocally, if somebody is a New York or Miami co-working member, they're also going to get limited access to ArkHAUS. It's going to be very little. It'll probably be around 3 or 4 hours a month. It's enough for them to just go there one time and check it out. So when we talked about 720 memberships available, but only selling 360, that other 50% of Delta that's unsold effectively is actually sold through other future ArkHAUS locations.
So I believe you've already answered this, but if you can just really quick reiterate it. Also, is there a business membership versus an individual membership?
Yeah, there will be a business. The corporate membership, we're working on setting it up. We're still doing a little bit of research. What we think is going to happen is we will allow a corporation to effectively buy 2 memberships and split it amongst 4 people, more or less like a distribution team. So a single membership cannot be split by 2 people. One person is the member, and you can always bring guests if you always want to bring the same person. That's one way to do it. But a corporation will allow them to put 4 names on a double capacity membership.
They're asking what platform do you use for the NFT membership? I'm guessing that they're asking OpenSeas or what have you.
Yeah. First one was sold on OpenSea. If you just go search for ArkHAUS, you'll see it there. The second one is currently live on Super Rare. We did that in partnership with BitBasel. So they did a collection. They hosted an event at Custom House Miami, and they launched it. So the way the NFTs work, I already mentioned that, but each NFT auction is open for 1 month, the first Tuesday of every month to the first Tuesday of next month. And as soon as that one sells or closes, we open up the next one.
And again, although it was part of your presentation, let me tell you that we had quite a few people join after you had started. So they're asking again, how many other ArkHAUSes will be built and where?
No problem. That's one of my favorite questions to answer, so happy to say it. Miami will come online fall of 2022. New York City, we hope will come online spring of 23. LA and San Francisco would be right behind that. Once we get to 3 and 4, they'll come online much more quickly. Subsequent to those 4 in the US, Paris, Istanbul, and Dubai are our first targets. And that's really all we're focused on right now. Once we get past this stage of opening Miami, the clubs are actually pretty easy to launch. So after we do this investment raise for $1.5 million to launch Miami, we're going to run a larger raise, probably in the $15 to $20 million area. That is primarily to go put deposits down on somewhere between 20 and 28 boats for all the subsequent locations. Those deposits are refundable, which is great. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we secure our place in line. We are tied for being the largest client of the manufacturer of these boats, ArkHAUS. There's one other company that is doing almost Airbnb style lodging with it. So that's their space. We're the membership club space. And we just want to lock down the boats and get them and open up pretty quickly around the world.
Wendy, I think you're on mute.
Hey, Wendy, I think you're still on mute.
Oh, my apologies.
Sorry,
If
I didn't
anybody
hear your
has-
question there.
If anybody has a last question, please put it in chat or put it on Q&A. Before we end, obviously you can reach out to Arthur, and Arthur will send the contact information to all of you within the next day or two. Sam and Natalie, this is fascinating, especially the NFT aspect to it. I think that is really great, as everybody is really in tune with that and watching those closely. So I'm going to wish you much success with your upcoming events in October, and keep us posted.
Thank you, Wendy. Just real quick, I do see a couple of last second questions that rolled in. I'll just answer them. Getting more info on the investment in Miami event, we'll get connected, but Miami event, either the 6th or the 7th next week. So please just connect with us before then, and we'll send you an invite to that event. And then October 12th in New York City here. And then in terms of discount on membership, depending on the size of the investment, we may just gift you one.
Also good to know. So there you have it. Anybody else? Okay.
All right.
Well, Sam and Natalie, thank you so very much.
Thank you,
Everybody,
guys.
thank you for joining us.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.